The Human Soul Part 3. So then, according to this, we have an immortal soul thought by many people in the past. Many of the great teachers spoke of the immortal soul. But let me bring you back to a discussion we already had. Remember these words: he who knows the fire that is within himself shall ascend to the eternal fire and dwell in it eternally. And God and the Father is light and life, of which man is made. If therefore you learn and believe yourself to be of the life and light, you shall again pass into life. Also, Ba is the essence, living forever. Ka is the shadow that man knows as life. Ba comes not until Ka is incarnate. These are mysteries to preserve through the ages. Then there is this: the concepts of intelligence are related to the intellectual gods, the concepts of opinion to the sensible gods, which are reflex ions of the intelligences, as, for instance, the sun is the image of the creative and celestial God. The sun, the only one of all creatures that changes not, and which remains the same. For this reason is confided to him alone the ordinance of the universe. He is the chief and the maker of everything. I venerate him and prostrate myself before his truth, and, after the first unity, I recognize in him the Creator. For as God has created the universe, so the sun creates animals, produces plants, and governs fluid things. The universe is the galaxy or solar system. In this way everything is created. The sun bestows on the immortals their everlasting life, and he nourishes the eternal regions of the cosmos with the ascending light sent forth from the side that faces heaven, with the descending light that illumines the entire hollow realm of water, earth, and air. He enlivens and sets in motion birth and death. The creatures in this region of the cosmos he remakes and reshapes in a cyclical movement, exchanging one for another, kind for kind, form for form. In so creating he acts just as he does with the celestial bodies. Change is constant for all bodies, for immortals without dissolution, for mortals with dissolution. Thus the immortal differs from the mortal and the mortal from the immortal. In the midst of the universe, solar system, is the sun established, like the bearer of the crowns, and even as a skillful driver, he directs and maintains the chariot of the world, holding it to its course. He keeps fast the reins of it, even life, soul, spirit, immortality, and birth. He drives it before him, or, rather, with him. And after this manner he forms all things, dispensing to immortals eternal permanence. Hermes also says this: wherefore the Father of all is God, the Creator is the Son, and the cosmos is the instrument of his creative power. His spiritual substance governs the heavens govern the gods, and the powers, which are appointed by the gods, govern men. This is the host of gods and powers. Through these instruments God by himself creates all this, and all things partake of God. Since this is so, they are God. Therefore in creating all things, he creates himself, and he can never cease to create, for he himself never ceases to be. As God has no end, so his handiwork has neither beginning nor end. So, everything he creates is himself. That means everything in the Milky Way galaxy is him and you are a part of that him. And it is the divine will of God that we change bodies with our immortal souls. You are here today and gone tomorrow, but what happens to us at death, we ask? That answer can only be answered by God. Notice his answer: the path to immortality is hard, and only a few find it. The rest await the great day when the wheels of the universe shall be stopped and the immortal sparks shall escape from the sheaths of substance. Woe unto those who wait, for they must return again, unconscious and unknowing, to the seed ground of stars, and await a new beginning. Those who are saved by the light of the mystery which I have revealed unto you, O Hermes, and which I now bid you to establish among men, shall return again to the Father who dwells in the white light, and shall deliver themselves up to the light and shall be absorbed into the light, and in the light they shall become powers in God. This is the way of good and is revealed only to them that have wisdom. Again, did you notice, shall return again to the Father who dwells in the white light, and shall deliver themselves up to the light and shall be absorbed into the light. Again we state we come from that white light which our Father and God uses to power up the new body being born from our mother's womb. Our soul that fills the new body with energy or the special essence that come from the white light is what powers us until the day that essence leaves our body, because our body can't support our soul any longer. So if you are these ones that have that, this is the way of good and is revealed only to them that have wisdom will understand and partake in, those who are saved by the light of the mystery which I have revealed unto you, O Hermes, and which I now bid you to establish among men, shall return again to the Father who dwells in the white light. The other section of man that don't partake in the white light and return from where they came from, they are part of the rest that await the great day when the wheels of the universe shall be stopped and the immortal sparks shall escape from the sheaths of substance. Woe unto those who wait, for they must return again, unconscious and unknowing, to the seed ground of stars, and await a new beginning. This is the way of the soul, and it was taught to many in the past, but this teaching would be missing in a dark period when man would pull away from the pure teaching of Hermes. Like he said in his prophecy of Egypt, he foretold the conscience of man and how he would think. Notice, there will come a time when it will be seen that in vain have the Egyptians honored the divinity with a pious mind and with assiduous service. All their holy worship will become inefficacious. The gods, leaving the earth, will go back to heaven. They will abandon Egypt. This land, once the home of religion, will be widowed of its gods and left destitute. Strangers will fill this country, and not only will there no longer be care for religious observances, but, a yet more painful thing, it will be laid down under so-called laws, under pain of punishments, that all must abstain from acts of piety or cult towards the gods. Then this most holy land, the home of sanctuaries and temples, will be covered with tombs and the dead. O Egypt, Egypt, there will remain of thy religion only fables, and thy children in later times will not believe them. Nothing will survive save words engraved on stones to tell of your reverent deeds. The Scythian or the Indian, or some other such barbarous neighbor will establish himself in Egypt. For behold, the divinity goes back up to heaven, and men, abandoned, all die, and then, without either God or man, Egypt will be nothing but a desert. Why weep, O Asclepius? Egypt will be carried away to worse things than this, she will be polluted with yet graver crimes. She until now most holy, who so much loved the gods, only country of the earth where the gods made their home in return for her devotion, she who taught men holiness and reverence, will give example of the most atrocious cruelty. In that hour, weary of life, men will no longer regard the world as worthy object of their admiration and reverence. This all, which is a good thing, the best that can be seen in the past, the present and the future, will be in danger of perishing, men will esteem it a burden, and then forward they will despise and no longer cherish this whole of the universe, incomparable work of God, glorious construction, good creation made up of an infinite diversity of forms, instrument of the will of God who, without envy, pours forth his favor on all his work, in which is assembled in one whole, in a harmonious diversity, all that can be seen that is worthy of reverence, praise, and love. For darkness will be preferred to light, it will be thought better to die than to live, none will raise his eyes towards heaven, the reverent man will be thought mad, the irreverent wise, the frenzied will be thought brave, the worst criminal a good man. The soul and all the beliefs attached to it, according to which the soul is immortal by nature or foresees that it can obtain immortality as I have taught you, this will be laughed at and thought nonsense. And believe me, it will be considered a capital crime under the law to give oneself to the religion of the mind. A new justice will be created and new laws. Nothing holy, nothing pious, nothing worthy of heaven and of the gods who dwell there, will be any more spoken of nor will find credence in the soul. The gods will separate themselves from men, deplorable divorce. Only the evil angels will remain who will mingle with men, and constrain them by violence, miserable creatures, to all the excesses of criminal audacity, engaging them in wars, brigandage, frauds, and in everything which is contrary to the nature of the soul. Then the earth will lose its equilibrium, the sea will no longer be navigable, the heaven will no longer be full of stars, the stars will stop their courses in the heaven. Every divine voice will be silenced, and will be silent. The fruits of the earth will molder, the soil will be no longer fertile, the air itself will grow thick with a lugubrious torpor. Such will be the old age of the world, irreligion, disorder, confusion of all goods. When all these things have come to pass, then the Lord and Father, the God first in power and the Creator of the one God, having considered these customs and voluntary crimes, endeavoring by his will, which is the divine will, to bar the way to vices and universal corruption and to correct errors, he will annihilate all malice, either by effacing it in a deluge or by consuming it by fire, or destroying it by pestilential maladies diffused in many places.